Life is good. Good afternoon, everybody. Wow. Welcome to this day here in the Ottawa Valley. Beautiful out. Yesterday it went up to plus 10 Celsius. Again, apologies to American viewers. There's probably 7 of you out there or so. I don't know what that means, but it's a nice warm day. And today's the same thing, a little breezier. And it's going to start getting a little colder in the next week or so here. So I figured I'd take advantage of these couple of days here and get out and do something. So we're in kind of a dilemma here right now. And the dilemma is ice is no longer safe to fish on. And most anglers who are safe and pay attention to these things are realizing that and basically putting away their ice fishing gear. And I've pretty much done the same. So I got to pondering. That's what I do. I do a lot of pondering, saying, well, how can I get out and do something in the meantime? And then it occurred to me that, truthfully, walleye, pickerel in this area doesn't close until the 15th of March. Especially more specifically in the area that I'm fishing, which is the Petawawa River and area 15 in Ontario. So I'm doing something today that I haven't done, I don't think, ever. If I have done this, I certainly don't recall. I'm actually walking down right now to the Petawawa River. And this is basically almost where the Petawawa meets the Ottawa. And I've decided to hang out down here for a little while and see if I can catch a couple fish. Now, I'm targeting specifically walleye because that is what's open. But also what is open, and it's open all year round, is catfish. And there's some beauty catfish in here, my friends. I've caught some beauty catfish over the years. Particularly, if you look down there, that's kind of where the mouth of the Petawawa is, or it meets the Ottawa-ish. It goes a little bit beyond where the camera can't see. But there's a really nice deep hole there, about 32. I think it might even go to 40 in some places. Maybe even further, I can't recall. But it's deep with a lot of current. So we used to fish it back in the day, 30 years ago, for catfish. And we used to do quite well. So I'm making sure that I adopt my presentation so that I'm specifically targeting those species, i.e. I'm going to use a bit of a heavier jig, 3/4 maybe in a full ounce, and a couple plastics. I'm going to get right down on the bottom there. Going to do a little wiggle, 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 pull, 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 wiggle, 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 with a view to target one of those species and to minimize me catching species that are not in season. So there's a lot of other predators that obviously swim up and down this river that aren't in season, so I'm going to minimize the possibility of catching one of them, and that's why I'm using a presentation that's going to stick on the bottom. Hopefully a couple walleye will be swimming by and we'll pick them up, and maybe 1 or 2 nice big catfish. So, and I know for a fact there's catfish in this river because I've caught them, and I know for a fact that there's walleye in this river because I've caught them as well. And so has my daughter. As a matter of fact, last year, my daughter, maybe 2 years ago, my daughter caught her PB walleye right here, right where I'm standing. And it was a rainy day, and she was having a good old time. And it's actually one of the shorts on the channels. It's a point of view of when you're fishing with your father. My daughter got the most hits of any of my videos other than the one I had to take down for reasons I'm not going to discuss right now. I'm about 3 blocks from home, by the way. I'm very, very fortunate to live down here. A lot of my brothers, and when I say brothers, I mean my regimental brothers, and they truly are like brothers to me, live down here as well. So we have a pretty cool community. We often joke that in a time of an apocalypse, this place is going to be easy to defend because there's only 2 access points to the Petawawa Point, and that's the river and the Laurentian Hill. And trust me, with the skill set of the people living down here, I feel pretty confident we could defend it against some really aggressive zombies. Is there such thing as a nice zombie? I don't. I'm going to start off with a 3/4 ounce jig here. Nothing real fancy, just a jig. I think I got these all from Cabela's in the bulk bin there. A brother of mine, Mark, you guys have seen him in video. He introduced me to these pieces of plastic here a couple of years ago. It's called a Phoenix grub, and I really, really love these Phoenix grubs. Al's Bait and Tackle in Pembroke sells them. anybody's interested, you can go up and see him. He's a nice guy. He's got lots of gear and his prices are competitive. They truly are. Anyway, I love these Phoenix scrubs because they're very effective for catching walleyes. And everybody can be in suspense while I head out there and make the first cast. There we go. Is everybody ready? Slow motion it, slow motion it, slow motion it. Let's get a walleye. Stay tuned. So one thing I should point out here is I normally use a braid or one of the other super lines as my main line, like most of the anglers are doing today. And I also add a mono lead or floral lead. Usually I use a floral lead, but today I'm just using a mono lead. But what I'm going to mention is that I actually I put on a lot of lead today, probably about 20 feet of lead. And I know there's a lot of guys watching saying, oh, you can't have 20 feet of lead, you need 6 feet or 3 feet, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm using 20 foot lead right now because this is Snag City, my friends. And like I mentioned earlier, I am targeting, basically I'm targeting bottom feeding species, which right now would be a walleye and or a catfish. So that's why I got lots of lead on. You're gonna see lots of breaks. I made sure I got lots of jigs, and that's the price you pay for fishing current and fishing the Ottawa River. Now I know there's a lot of anglers out there that are probably saying, I can go a whole day casting river like that and not lose a jig. Good for you. I can't. I stay on the bottom. I try and maintain contact. Yeah, there are times if I'm fishing a little more aggressively, I'll make sure that my lure is up nice and high, and I'll do a little bit of a quicker retrieve to make sure that I come off the bottom and to minimize the snags. But for today, I don't really care. I want to stay right on the bottom, and that's mainly out of interest in respecting the local laws. Like I said, I want to specifically target species that are going to pick these fish up, or these jigs up on the bottom. So that's what I'm doing. Really, really healthy lead. Going to be lots of breaks, but hey, we're going to have some fun when we're doing it. Stay tuned. So basically what I'm doing here, the risk of insulting your intelligence for those that watch the channel that are into angling, but for those that aren't, just explaining, essentially what I'm doing here is I'm taking this 3/4 ounce jig with this Phoenix scrub, and I'm tossing it out and I'm letting it sit on the bottom, and I'm just dragging it along the bottom. And the beauty is, on this part of the Petawawa, there's a lot of rocks here that are the size of fastballs, essentially. A couple maybe the size of softballs. But at any rate, it's really, really nice to fish because you can know when you're maintaining contact because you feel the jig on the rock and it's ding, 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 ding. And I'll show you what I mean here. If you guys can see this jig here, whoops, holy crapes, falling down already. All right, you can see the jig here. This was a brand new jig 10 casts ago, and look at all the paint that's coming off of it. So that confirms that I'm achieving the presentation that I want to, which is essentially tossing it out. And the beauty is when you're fishing current like this, you can let it sit there for a little while because the current's actually going to promote some action on that tail for you. So if you just let it sit there and the current's going to wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, and hopefully there's going to be a cat or a walleye swimming around, catches their eye, and then, ooh, I'm going to go check that out. And then all of a sudden you move it. Ooh, that might instigate, or what do they call that? Reactionary bite. That might prompt a reactionary bite. We'll keep her going, see what happens. It would help if I had one of those little clips for my head or my chest or something, but I do have one on my hat, but it makes my hat top heavy, so I don't, it keeps falling down in my eyes, so I don't use it. So I'm trying to do the best I can here until somebody, Father's Day coming up, but somebody decides to buy me a chest mount for my GoPro, which is what I've decided would probably be the best, just based on what I've seen other YouTube anglers use. Anyway, clean that off a bit there, get her back out, and do another presentation, i.e. we'll present it. So while we're throwing here, we'll have story time with Colin. I remember when I was a young soldier here serving on Garrison Petawawa 30 years ago. I actually used to live literally just down the street here, about a block and a half. And one night I was across the river here, the Petawawa River. I was up in what they call private married quarters, which is on the other side of the river here, in behind the golf course, is one of the sections of the private married quarters. But anyway, I was up there back when I used to consume the pops more frequently than I do now. I was at a friend's house up there, and we drank a lot of pop that night. And I decided that, I mean, we're talking 1991, 92 here. You know, I didn't have a pot to piss in. You know, a young soldier in those days wasn't making a lot of money. But anyway, I was up there having some pops, aka beers, with a friend of mine, old Johnny, and I decided that I didn't want to walk all the way around to get back home, meaning that the only place you can cross the Petawawa River here in Petawawa is the main bridge that goes into base, which is all the way down there a couple kilometers, which means, without having a map to explain it to you, which means I would have had to walk 6 to 7 kilometers to get home. So I came down here at the edge of the golf course with my friend Johnny, and I had a pair of blue jeans on, and I had a pair of cowboy boots, and I decided, I'd made a decision at that time that I wasn't going to walk the 6 kilometers home. I was going to swim across, and it would certainly make that 6 kilometer walk into a well, 700 meter walk, I suppose. So that's what I did, right over there. Johnny patted my back and said, "Good luck, brother." I mean, I should say here, to make sure that everybody understands, that it wasn't the hugest of all risk, because A, I have swam the river here before, and B, I was extremely fit in those days, and C, I swam really good. I was a really good swimmer. As a matter of fact, we did quite a bit of that type of swimming back in the day in the unit. So anyway, I got to the edge there, and I said to Johnny, I says, "Well, I don't feel like walking home. I'm gonna swim home." So he was like, "Okay, brother." So took off my cowboy boots, handed him my cowboy boots, and swam across right here 30 years ago. It was summertime. The water wasn't that cold, so there was no risk of hypothermia. But certainly not telling this story to promote anything unsafe. Certainly anybody has had a few beers shouldn't be swimming like that. But at the time, when you're 20-something years old and you're a paratrooper, you feel kind of invincible. And those are kind of the silly mistakes that I look back on now. As although they're funny and interesting stories, I look back and say, "Holy jeez, I hope my son or my daughter never tries that." And when I make that comment to myself, I know for a fact that it was not a great idea. But anyway, just told the story for a little bit of fun. Got my boots back the next day from Johnny, and all was well, and I carried off my day. So I just lost another jig, which again I did anticipate losing a few. So I'm switching up to it's one of these VMC jigs there. I think I've heard some guys refer to them as a Smarty jig. I don't know if you guys can pick that up. They're not round in nature. They're kind of well, they are. They're flat on the sides, and I guess the theory behind it is that it's going to cut through the water and it's going to make for a quicker presentation. And I think that if you were to pair that up with a split tail or something, it's it's going to be moving quite quick. So it is a whole different way of presenting the bait, in my opinion. And these VMC jigs, they got a really nice hook on them. It's really sturdy. So if you happen to get into something big, I just like saying VMC jig because I see all the guys that actually catch fish say that all the time. VMC jig, VMC jig. Well, my turn, VMC jig. And anyway, I'm gonna put one of these little, I don't even know what you call these guys. I don't know the names of half these things. I just buy them. Squiggly jig with a boot. That's what we're gonna call it. Tickler. Tickler, I think I saw some guys call this a tickler. Tickler with a boot. That's what we're gonna call it. Tickler with a boot. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the tickler and the boot. Because so far, the fish are winning. But that's okay. We'll give it another go. Really nice to see the geese coming back, although uncharacteristically early. This is what the CBC has told me in one of their stories, so it's got to be true. But anyway, early spring, I'll take it. Early spring in the Ottawa Valley. And there's the Petawawa there, Beauty River. that's it. I stayed down there for about another hour or so, and then the sun disappeared and got cold and got hungry, so I decided to come home. Anyway, I know it's just a short one there, friends and family, but like I said, I was just practicing with a couple new things there and thought I'd go out and make a quick video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. At least you got some nice Maggie wants to see me. At least you guys got to see a little bit of the beauty of the Petawawa River down here in the point, and kind of maybe experience this nice warm day through me, if you will. But anyway, like I always say, guys, life is hard. Have fun and support your troops. We'll see you next time on NTS Adventures. Calling out.